Alright guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today. For this one I am in Bamberg in Franconia in the north of Bavaria in Germany. So yeah, very famous beer town. The region of Franconia, it has something like 300 breweries, so it's the highest density of brewery per head of population anywhere in the world. And at the moment I am in the northern part of the centre of Bamberg. I'm on Königstrasse and there are two very nice breweries here. So we're going to have a little look at this one first. This is Brauerei Fässla, and these guys are known for the Zwergler beers. So they've got little dwarfs on them, so very recognisable. So we'll go in and do as we always do. We'll have a look around, we'll try some of the beers, maybe try some of the food because I'm a little bit hungry. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this one, but cool to finally be here in Bamberg again and filming for you. So this is like my third or fourth time here, but I just never did some outside vlogs. So I hope you guys enjoy these. We're going to do a few of them. So let's go for it. Brauerei Fässla on Königstrasse, King Street in the northern part of central Bamberg. Let's go. So yeah guys, just to let you see the outside of this place, it looks very nice. As you can see, typical old kind of German building there, but there you can see Gästezimmer, so this means like guest rooms and stuff. But yeah, Brauerei Fässla, and right across the road is Brauerei Spezial. So these guys do Rauch beer. That's the main reason that we are doing Fässla first, is because these guys do, you know, nice lager beers and stuff like that. But the smoke beer will saturate your palate. But yeah, looks very nice. So here's the entrance, Eingang. Let's go in and see what they've got. Really looking forward to this. And there you can see the little dwarf rolling the barrel. So let's do this. So yeah guys, when you come in, this is what you're met with. So yeah, basically you can go up here on the left and you can sort out staying in the guest house, or you can go to the bar and order some beer. But yeah, they have the room here, which seems to be the main one. Everyone is kind of chilling in here. So yeah, you've got all of this, and again, very nice Franconian style. Looks really cool. You've got the bar, which is nice and small as well. This is it. It looks pretty awesome. But yeah, if we come through here, this is the room that I've been sitting in. I came through the back just so it was a little bit quieter for the reviews and stuff. So yeah, I've been filming here. This video will be a little bit of an unusual order, I guess we can say. But yeah, from here you can go back out to the hall that we were just in. It's a pull door, not a push. It's what happens after you've had a couple of beers. But yeah, that's the door that we came in. They've got another side room over here, which looks pretty cool. This is closed just now, obviously, so we can't get in. But yeah, you can go out here. This is where you go to the bathroom, of course. There you can see the little Zwergler dwarf. But yeah, there is a little bit of a beer garden out here, and obviously because the weather's not that great, it's quite quiet, so nobody's really out here. But yeah, in the summer you can imagine this would be pretty nice, very cool. But yeah, you've got your German cigarette machine, and yeah, the Brauhaus is through here. I don't think we're allowed to go through here, but yeah, this is the Brauhaus through here. So yeah, that is a little walk around of the premises here at Brauerei Fässla. Pretty cool. Yeah, if it had been the summer, probably would have sat out here and filmed a little bit. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that. Alright guys, well we're sat down now in the back part of the restaurant. So yeah, time for our first beer tasting. So yeah, the first one is simply called the lager beer. So this is a half litre. You can see the nice kind of Zwergler dwarf on that, which is pretty cool. So yeah, the thing I noticed about this is it's a left-handed flask, so it's a little bit annoying to hold for the video so you can see the dwarf. But anyway, it's cool. So they've got two beers on tap apparently. They've got two beers on tap, just a regular lager beer and a pilsner. So yeah, I went with the lager beer first because the pilsner are usually a little bit more hoppy. But as you can see, this beer's got a really nice kind of sort of slightly coppery tint to it. So it looks a little bit like a Märzen almost. It's almost the same kind of colour as that. When it poured, it had a finger or so of like a frothy kind of cream coloured head. But yeah, nice little bits of carbonation sticking to the bottom. You can see there's a steady stream of it going up to the top there. But it looks very nice, this one. I actually can't remember if I've tried this particular Zwergler Zwergler beer before, but yeah, it should be quite nice anyway. You can also see as well 370 Jahr, if I've got that right. But yeah, 370 years of Zwergler. So cool, let's try this one. It comes in at 5.5% ABV, so yeah, let's do this. The Zwergler Lager beer. Slange, skål, cheers, prost, there you go. Yeah, very, very nice. It's interesting this because even though it looks, you know, if you're thinking about a Märzen, which this beer to me would look like if it was poured, it's very much just a smooth, kind of bready, straight up lager beer. It's really, really nice. First impression of it is that it's quite brown bready, it's very smooth, just really easy drinking, and that's what you're going to get from Bamberg beer and Frankische beer in general. It looks really nice, it tastes very, very nice. So let's break the flavour of this down for you and explain it a wee bit more kind of in depth. So yeah, middle of your palate with this one, you can feel backbone of the beer, it's got a little bit of bread crust to it. Further forward you've got a little bit of a woody character, but on top of that it's got this nice kind of wholemeal German brown bready kind of character to it. In the very centre of your palate you maybe get like a little bit of a McVitie's digestive biscuity sort of thing. It's pretty solid, this one. To me this is really just a big kind of bready, brown bready lager beer. I really like it actually. I'm really trying to remember whether I've had this one before, but yeah, I'll let you have a little look at the menu in a minute. When I came and sat down, this was poured for me right away, so we're drinking it fresh. That's the rule in Germany, you have to drink your beer fresh. So, on the hoppy side of things then, back corners of the palate, you've got a little bit of earthiness there. Again, it's quite smooth. When the hops that are used in this region are most likely Hallertau, so remember German noble hops are always very, very smooth. So a wee bit earthy, a little bit herbal. As you come further forward, it's a little bit floral, and round the front curve of your tongue, it's a little bit more kind of grassy, but it's very, very smooth in its hoppy character, and again, that's in keeping with the whole sort of bready vibe of this beer. This is actually quite a malty leaning lager beer for me, but it's, again, it's very, very nice. You could easily tan a few of these, but of course we want to try a few of the different beers, and we are planning to go to Spezial after this. So yeah, there is a rule from what I hear in Bamberg too, that when you sit down, the first beer that you order in a pub has to be a 0.5. You're not allowed to order a 0.3 because it's just tradition. So yeah, I think the next one we drink will be a little bit smaller than this, but we'll see. This is a nice way to start the day. I'm actually filming at about like 10:30, 11 o'clock or something like that, because I wanted to get 2 of the Brauhouses done today. So yeah, the first one we'll have with lunch, the second one we'll have with dinner. You're in Bamberg, you're on holiday, why not? But yeah, fruity side of the beer then. So yeah, front third of your palate then. Again, you've got a little bit of that kind of bready base to the beer. On top of that, there's a really nice little bit of, you do have a wee bit of a kind of fruity sort of thing to it. So there's a wee bit of like a kind of slightly peary note. You've got a little bit of a kind of like sultana vibe, so that dry, white, green, grapey sort of thing. You've got a little bit of that there, a little bit of a more kind of oily, peary character as you come further forward. Yeah, it's quite a dry, fruity character you get from this one, but at the same time it's quite wet. But in terms of the mouthfeel, it's a light, you know, it's quite light-bodied. It's in the kind of middle of the light-bodied part of the spectrum. Carbonation does give you a wee bit of crispness. The malty side of the beer is nice and smooth. It's a little bit grainy, but you've also just got a wee bit of that kind of, you've got a wee bit of hoppy bitterness to this. But I'd be surprised if this is more than like 15 IBUs, something like that. This is just a very easy drinking, bready leaning lager beer. Fruitiness to it is quite minimal and quite dry as well. But yeah, that is the Fässla lager beer at 5.5% ABV. Looks like a Märzen, but it's actually just a kind of nice brown bready straight up lager beer. So yeah, happy with this one. Let's go on to our next one then. Catch you guys in a second. So guys, yeah, I'm sat in the little kind of back room here, and you can see it's really nice. Very, very typical Franconian German. Very, very nice. The kitchen is just through there, but yeah, really, really nice little back room, this one. Awesome. So back to finishing off our Zwergler Fässla lager beer. Here we go. Alright guys, so we'll take a little look at the menu now. So we have an English menu over here, the red one, and we have a German menu, the kind of wooden one. So there are a few things that are different about the German menu, so I'll show you these first. So first off, you have the Tageskarte. So yeah, these are daily specials. So today they've got carrot and curry soup, Fleischkuchle, Kartoffel salad, spaghetti bolognese, which actually looks really good, but we're going to have German food when we're here, not Italian. Yeah, these all look quite interesting. I'm not sure exactly what some of these are, but yeah, still pretty good. The other thing that's different about the German menu is that in the middle, or at the start, it shows you the information on the brewery. So yeah, Brauerei Fässla was founded in 1649. And it tells you a little bit more about there. My German's kind of too rusty to take you through this, but if you want to see me talk about the history of Fässla, you can do that in one of my kind of sit-down reviews I've done of the Fässla Zwergler beers. But yeah, this one you can see some of the old barrels and stuff like that. The brewery is apparently in the back of this building, which is pretty cool. So yeah, Fässla is pretty small. It is really quite small. But yeah, as you can see, here is the English menu then. So these are their opening times. The beer garden's open till 10 p.m. each night. 70 seats. 70 seats plus 40, so 110 seater. There you can see again, there is the Zwergler, the dwarf. So yeah, this is kind of cool. So yeah, these are your specials on the different days. You can see the different dishes and stuff here. Very reasonably priced. You will find that in this region, in Franconia, prices are very good. So remember, 10 euros is roughly, about 12 American dollars, maybe about £9 sterling, £8 sterling, something like that. But yeah, they've got the classic one, currywurst with fries. But yeah, all of these things, red cabbage, sauerkraut, things like this, roast pork, all of this, oven fresh pork shoulder. Looks really, really nice. But yeah, I think I might have a schnitzel. Always enjoy the schnitzel. You can also have Franconian bratwurst. So yeah, this looks really, really nice. We've got some salads in here without the meat. We've got the kids menu as well. It's actually quite funny. In the German menu, they actually say, I thought this was pretty good. So for the kids menu, they actually say, from dwarfs for dwarfs. I thought that was pretty good. So there you go. And they've got a nice wee diagram there. But yeah, there's a kids menu for you here. 5-6 euros or things like that. It's pretty good for kids prices. They've got their cold selection as well. Yeah, it's pretty nice. Smoked ham, things like this. Cheeses, butter and bread. I think it's pretty good. So yeah, this is, I don't know if this is before 5 o'clock that you can have these, but anyway, yeah. So on to the different, you've got different beers and things like that. You know, you can have apple shore and all of this, but of course we're more interested in the beer. They've got teas and things, but I'm not English enough for tea, I should say. They've got some spirits as well, but yeah, here is the main point of interest, the Fässla beer. So yeah, these are the two main ones on tap, the Pilsner and the Lager beer. €3.30 for a half litre. It's pretty damn cheap, I have to say. Really impressed with the prices here. But yeah, out of the bottle, they have their this first one here, which is a Dunkel. That's what they have today, apparently. So I'll see how I feel and see if I want to try a third beer. But yeah, Weiß der Helles. They also have the Bamberg, which is only brewed in October. So I need to see about coming back in October to try one of these actually, or I might just get Daniel to pick me up a bottle and take it away. But yeah, I think this one will be a little bit like a Doppelbock. But that's the end of our menu. So there you go, really nice menu here at Brauerei Fässla. Alright guys, well, time for our second tasting then here at Brauerei Fässla. So yeah, the second beer that we have is the Gold Pils. So yeah, you can see a different glass for this one. We've got the nice kind of gold trim and stuff like this. But yeah, there you can get a proper look at the Zwergler Dwarf. And yeah, as you can see, 370 Jahre Trinke Fässla Bier aus Bamberg, or Trink, yeah, I should say. Give you the proper German pronunciation. But yeah, once again, this one is a half litre. When the beer poured, it had about 2 fingers actually of a frothy, I would say kind of slightly cream coloured head, but it looks very, very nice. You can see carbonation in this one again is fairly steady. It's got a little bit of a natural haze to it, but it is pretty much crystal clear, this beer. But this is exactly what you would expect from a Pilsner, this lovely, bright, golden straw colour, and yeah, pretty much crystal clear. So yeah, quite happy with the appearance of that one for a Pilsner. So nothing else we need to say about that. Let's have a look at the aroma and see what we get. Yeah, this one is actually, to me, it's still got the crispness you expect of a German Pilsner, but it has a little bit more breadiness to it. I remember I do kind of remember this about the Fässla Zwerger beers, that they were always quite quite light and crisp, but also quite bready at the same time. So yeah, the main thing to remember is the Pilsner style of beer comes from the city of Pilsen, now in the Czech Republic. That was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Those people were known as the Sudeten Germans, of course, but it was developed back in, I want to say, either the 1840s or the 1860s by a German brewer. So yeah, for me, the Czech Pilsners tend to be a little bit more yeasty and bready, whereas the German ones tend to be a little bit lighter and crisp, and sometimes a wee bit more bitter as well. So I'm curious to see where on the spectrum this one actually lies. But yeah, it looks the part. Aroma-wise, this one for me, you've got a little bit of a very soft bread crusty character to it. You get the nice fluffy white bread in there as well. But at the same time, if you take the aroma in a little bit more deeply, at the top of the nose, you do get a little bit of that nice crisp Pilsner malt out of it. Yeah, the aroma of this beer, I think, is very, very nice for sure. And again, I find this one's a little bit more balanced, I think, than the lager beer was. The lager beer was a bit more malty leaning, whereas this one shows a little bit more of its hoppy character. So you have got a little touch of earthiness there. You've got a nice, bright, slightly floral aromatic quality to it. It shows you a wee touch of spiciness for sure as well, but it's quite a smooth spiciness at the same time. The grassy side of the beer has a little bit of zestiness to it, but again, very, very smooth. Typical of these German noble hops, to be honest with you. Yeah, this is very, very nice actually. I really like the aroma of this one, just very smooth but crisp and still quite bready beers. So yeah, if I had to describe just my experiences of these Zwerger beers, yeah, crisp but bready and very, very smooth beers. So yeah, I think this one's going to be just like that. But on the fruity side of things, it's kind of what you would expect from the beer. There's a little bit of a sultana type note, a wee bit of an oily pear, and thank you soon. My schnitzels just came, you'll see this in a minute, guys. But yeah, really nice kind of little bit of a crisp, peary sort of thing. Yeah, a little bit of sultana, a little bit of pear, maybe a teeny wee touch of apricot or something like this. Typical as to what you would expect from a Pilsner. Let's have a taste of this one then. So the Gold Pils, 5.5% ABV from Brauerei Fässla, my second beer here. Slange, skull, cheers, roast. Oh yeah, very nice. So I'm going to say, based on what we had from the lager beer, this is pretty much what I was expecting from this one. Yeah. So for me, this beer, it really is just that. It's quite a smooth, ready Pilsner, this one. It still has the crispness you'd expect from a German Pilsner rather than the Czech Pilsen, but it's also got just a little bit of that dry, fruity kind of character to it as well. So I do like how this goes together, this one. It's very... It's quite an interesting one, this. It really shows you the sort of... For me, Franconian beer's always been very smooth and very bready, but still light and drinkable at the same time. So it feels... You know, if someone told me that a style the Franconian Pilsner existed, this is what I would expect, to be honest with you. But yeah, really, I'm guessing from what I'm trying from these beers, the whole sort of trademark of the Fässla Brauerei is to have light and crisp but still quite smooth beers. That's how I interpret these. Let me know your own thoughts on that in the comment section below, of course. But yeah, let's break this down for you. So middle of the palate, absolutely. A little bit of that kind of fresh white bready bread crust in there. On top of that, a smoother white bready note. Toward the back of that of the palate, toward the back of the middle third, back third of your palate, you start to get more of that kind of crisp pilsnery malt out of this. This beer actually does show you a little bit more sweetness into the aftertaste, I think. Yeah, so for me, in the middle of the palate with this one, you can feel there's a nice little bit of a McVitie's digestive bread crust, a little bit of a McVitie's digestive biscuity sort of sweetness. In the dead centre of the palate, you do get a little touch of a very slightly oily, very toasty, not very toasty I should say, just a lightly toasted kind of caramel to it. So yeah, this beer is quite nice because it shows you the crisp side of the Pilsner. It's got a bit of the breadiness, a bit of the crispness, but it also gives you just a wee bit of that very slightly biscuity, brown sugary note that you expect. I like this. For me, I really, really like this. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else we need to say about the malty side of things. So hoppy side of the beer, a little bit of smoothness in the back corners of the palate, a wee touch of earthiness. As you move further forward, it's a little bit more kind of herbal, and as you move toward the front corners of the palate, you do get a wee bit more floral aromaticity out of it. A little touch spicy, but again, it is still pretty damn smooth, to be honest with you. Yeah, this is really nice. Yeah, a little bit of floral aromaticity. Round the front curve of the palate, you do get a little bit of that lighter grassy thing. I actually find the grassy side of this beer a wee bit more oily, which is interesting. But yeah, on the front third of your palate then, the fruity side of the beer, for me again, it's got a little bit of that kind of sultana, dried white grain grapey sort of thing, a little bit of pear almost, and as you reach the front tip of the palate, it's got a little bit more of a kind of grassy, estery sort of thing going on with it. So yeah, I do like how this beer goes together, that's for sure. Yeah, I think this one, this is a really nice pilsner, as I say. For me, it shows you a little bit of that more kind of soft, bready, but still light. It shows you that kind of soft bready side of the Franconian beers, but it shows you that kind of lighter crispness, which seems to be the kind of trademark of Zwergla, Brauerei Fässla. So yeah, I like this. I really do like this. Mouthfeel wise, yeah, mouthfeel wise, I'd say, top end of light bodied, smooth, quite crisp carbonation, a little bit oily and slick. IBUs, I think again this is like 15 IBUs, something like that, maybe a little bit more, maybe 20. Actually, because 15 is like a Hefeweizen, and this one feels a little bit more bitter than that, so I think 20 IBUs. Malt base is nice and smooth, there is a wee bit of crispness and sweetness to it, and you've also just got a little bit of a slightly oily, fruity character to it. But yeah, that is a very nice Pilsner. If someone told me the Franconian Pilsner as a style existed, this is kind of what I would expect. A bit of breadiness, but it also shows you that lighter kind of crisp side of Brauerei Fässla. So yeah, I like this one. The Gold Pils, 5.5% ABV. Let's leave it there. Alright guys, so yeah, here you can see the Brauerei Fässla Bamberg coaster. I really like this actually. But yeah, on the back they have the best motto: friends don't let friends beer alone. I'm doing this video alone unfortunately, but I like it. I still like the motto. There you go. So yeah guys, this is the Braumeister Schnitzel. So yeah, this looks pretty damn good. Pommes and a little bit of an onion sauce. So let's see how we go with this. So guys, just another little random thing. One thing I've always loved, having travelled through Asia and stuff like this, I love, wooden carvings, carpentry, stuff like this. Just look at the back of the chairs. Here in Brauerei Fässla, you've got the little Zwergla dwarf. I love this. Really, really nice craftsmanship. Awesome. Alright guys, well, time for our third and final tasting then here at Brauerei Fässla in Bamberg. So the last beer that we're going to have a look at is maybe what you could call their kind of signature beer. I'm not 100% sure about that, maybe the owners and the brewer and stuff would disagree, but this is the one that I know Fässla for. So this particular beer is called Zwergla. It comes in at 6% ABV, and this is a dunkel beer. So before the head disappears, you can see this one poured with about a finger and a half of a frothy, I would say kind of fawn coloured head. The colour of this beer is a nice kind of chestnutty sort of mahogany colour. This is exactly what you would expect from a dunkel beer. So remember, the colour of your beer depends on the type of malts that you use, the length of wort boil that you do, any adjuncts or any barrel aging. These are the four main factors that can affect the colour of your beer. So if we think about this one in terms of a dunkel, it is one of the more chestnutty leaning ones that I've come across. There's not so much carbonation visible in this one. There is a steady stream of like medium-sized bubbles toward the top of the head there, but I should point out that this beer has been taken out of the bottle rather than on tap. But yeah, I made a little mistake in the other tastings that I did. So I thought the beer brand was Zwergla, which is this dwarf guy here, but Zwergla is just their mascot. This particular beer, the dunkel, is the one that is called Zwergla. So the other two beers that I have tried for you so far, the lager beer and the gold pils, those are simply called that. They are simply labelled as that on the bottle. It's been a while since I've had one of these out of the bottle, so I guess maybe a slightly easy mistake to make. But yeah, Zwergla the dwarf is their mascot. It's not their beer brand, and I think I maybe said that in one or two of the other videos. So for that, I do apologise. But my nice waiter explained that to me. But anyway, this beer looks exactly as you would expect from dunkel. So let's have a look at the aroma and see how we go. Yeah, I mean, once again, it's really quite nice. To be honest with you, I find the aroma of this one kind of similar to the lager beer that we had first time round. Obviously, you have a little bit more brown sugar to it. It's a little bit more caramelly, a little bit more toasty and stuff like this. But yeah, the aroma that this one gives you it's really nice, but you can definitely see that kind of trademark of the, you can definitely see that trademark of the other two beers. You can see that sort of Brauerei Fässla trademark on this one. So let's break it down for you a wee bit more. Backbone of the beer, definitely a nice little bit of bread crust there, soft bread crust. There are one or two little woody elements to it as well, which I really like. Yeah, so yeah, a little bit of a kind of stronger, like a little bit of a kind of brown bready, bread crusty sort of thing. Wee touch of woody note, smooth kind of brown bready character in there as well, which I really like. Yeah, it's like a sort of German wholemeal bready sort of thing. But on top of that, the beer starts to get a wee bit more complex. So you almost get like a slight touch of like a German rye bread out of this one. It's like a slightly stronger, slightly more grainy bready character, but on top of that, certainly a wee bit of a kind of toasty and slightly dry brown sugar. But I do get a little bit of sweetness out of this. I do get a little bit of a kind of straight up sweet caramelly note out of this. But what I would add is that it really is quite a toasty brown sugary note you get out of this one. Really nice smelling dunkel from the malty side of things. Let's look at the hoppy side of the beer. Again, it's showing you this German noble hop smoothness. So wee bit of earthiness, wee bit of herbal character. You do get a little bit of floral aromaticity out of this one, but again, it's quite smooth. But on the front of the nose, it's a little bit lighter and grassy. And the grassiness, in fairness, does have a wee bit of zestiness, but for me, I find the hoppy character of this beer really quite smooth rather than anything else. But yeah, it looks really nice, this beer. It smells very nice, pretty much what you would expect for a dunkel lager beer. So yeah, I think the only thing we have left to do is taste this one. As you can see, this is if I'm going to do this for the video, it has to be left-handed, but I'm going to switch around to the right hand just because, yeah, holding a tankard left-handed, it just doesn't quite work for me. But yeah, this one is the Zwergla 6% dunkel beer from Brauerei Fässla here on Königstrasse in Bamberg, Franconia, Franken, Northern Bavaria, Germany. Slange, Skål, cheers, Prost, our last tasting here. Let's do this. Ooh, that's really nice. Again, this one, it shows you. I really think for me, when I haven't tried this one, and I'm sure I've had this beer before. Having tried this one, for me, it seems that the kind of trademark, if you like, of Brauerei Fässla is to have these really smooth but lightly crisp beers. And I get that from this Dunkel as well. It's got a lovely smoothness to it. It feels a little bit thicker than the other two, but I guess that's down to the bottle conditioning rather than it being vom fast from the tap. But yeah, again, it shows you can see that trademark of Brauerei Fässla in the mouthfeel here. I like this. I certainly do like this. Yeah, this is very, very nice actually. It's a big thumbs up from me. Yeah, awesome stuff. So, first impression of it is really nice, smooth and bready Dunkel. It's actually leaning more towards the bready side of things, but this one has a smoothness from the style that I've not had in a wee while. And it's got a flavour profile that is exactly as you like, but like I say, it leans towards a very smooth, bready character. Let's break this down. Middle third of the palate and back third of the palate, you can feel a nice little bit of that slightly grainy bread crusty note out of it. On top of that, you get a really nice smooth, slightly thicker brown bready character. And the brown bread in this one is kind of wholemealy, but it also has a little bit of that German rye bread type vibe to it for sure. Yeah, it's really, really nice in that sense. The further that you go into the aftertaste with this one, there's a little bit of woodiness, a little touch of nuttiness. I'd say more woody than nutty, though the nuttiness is very, very minimal. But yeah, the way that this goes together, I think, is pretty damn good. Yeah, it does just have that little bit of woody dryness the further you go into the aftertaste with it. Like I say, slightly more grainy bread crust, smooth brown bread, a little bit of woodiness, a little bit of nuttiness, and yeah, that works for it. On top of that though, you can feel there's another sort of layer of a lighter, more wholemealy brown bread. In the centre of your palate, you can feel this little circle, and it's a really toasty, quite dry, brown sugary note that you get out of this. This is the thing, the brown sugars in this beer are really quite toasty and quite dry. I don't get all that much of like a straight up sweet caramelly note out of this one, but I certainly do like how this beer goes about its business. Absolutely. Yeah, I think other than that, there's not a lot to say about the malty side of things. Let's focus on the hoppy part of the beer. Yeah, so hoppy side of the beer then. Back corners of the palate, you've got a nice little bit of earthiness there. As you move further forward, it's a little bit herbal, and as you push toward the front kind of corners of the palate, it's a little bit more sort of floral and aromatic, but it's a really smooth Dunkel beer, this one. For me, it really is quite crisp and quite smooth. But round the front curve of the palate, a little bit lighter and grassy, wee touch of zestiness to it. I think it's nice. It's showing that typical noble German hop smoothness. On the fruity side of things, front third of your palate, smooth breadiness underneath, nice little bit. It has a nice little bit of kind of fruity character to it, but for me, it's got a wee, it's got a little bit of yeah, it's got a wee bit of it's got a little touch of a kind of red fruity character to it, so you get a wee bit of a kind of sultana-y, dry fruity vibe to it. A little bit of there is a wee bit of that oily pear, but I get like a little touch of just a red fruity note, and it's hard to place exactly what red fruity character it is. But Dunkels will always give you this. They'll give you this slightly oily pear, slightly dry, slightly dry sultana, peary sort of thing to them, but just a little touch of red fruit as well. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how to place the red fruit on this one. It's not quite like a candied strawberry or whatever, but yeah, it is very, very nice, I have to say. Yeah, in terms of a Dunkel beer, this one is quite nice. Like I say, because this is bottle conditioned, it feels a little bit different from the other ones we've had from Fässla, so from Fässla off the tap. But still, I really like it, and I felt because Sverla is their sort of signature, their mascot, if we can put it like that. This was one of the beers that we really had to try in the pub. So yeah, there you go. Let's round off with a mouthfeel then. So yeah, mouthfeel wise, top end of light bodied, smooth carbonation, a little bit more oily and slick than the other two we've had so far. But the malty side of this beer is really nice and smooth. Again, not a lot of hoppy bitterness to this one. I'd say maybe about 20 IBUs. You do get a little bit of bitterness from the malt base, and there's also just a little bit of that nice little sweetness to it. That nice little bit of fruity sweetness, I should say. But yeah, I like this one. So yeah, this is the Sverla, the signature kind of dwarf beer, if you like, from Fässla Brauerei here in Bamberg. This is our last tasting. I'll go and pay up now, and I'll give you my final thoughts here on Brauerei Fässla on Königstrasse in Bamberg in Franconia, Franken in northern Bavaria. Let's do this. You can feel the beer going to my head a little bit now. That's 1.5 litres after we finish this beer. Just crazy. But yeah, third and final tasting, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. So yeah, guys, I have to point out something to you that I thought was quite funny. Yeah, in the men's bathroom at the moment. So what this is basically saying is that you need to choose which beer you wish to recycle. So yeah, either you can recycle the lager beer, the Sverla, the gold pills. So I need to pee in these first three apparently. But yeah, if you had the Bambergator, so you only pee in this one in October, I guess. And then the alcohol fly, and it's down in the kiddies one. I like this. This is brilliant. So yeah, you need to choose how you recycle your beer here at Brauerei Fässla. That's pretty awesome. Typical, German Franconian humour. Love it. So yeah, guys, I just wanted to point this out a little bit more. In these Bamberg breweries, you get these little holes in the wall that you go in, just order the beer. And this one here as well, this is where you go for the Gästezimmer. So if you're sleepy after you've drunk a lot of beers, go and ask them for a room. Easy peasy. Alright guys, well that is me now finished at Brauerei Fässla on Königstrasse, King Street, in the northern part of central Bamberg. And I had a really nice time here. I tried 3 different beers, and we had the Braumeister Schnitzel. In total, that cost me just under 23 euros. So 230 Swedish kroner, I guess somewhere in the region of like £19 sterling, maybe about, what, $28 American, something like that. So as you can see, prices for coming out and eating and having a few beers here in Bamberg are very, very reasonable. But out of the 3 beers, probably the Sverla was my favourite, the Dunkel beer. But as you'll know if you've watched the channel for any length of time, I'm a huge fan of the kind of big brown sugary malty type beers. So yeah, it was kind of obvious that that one would potentially be my favourite. But the impression I got of the Fässla beers is that they're very kind of smooth but quite light and crisp ones. So I really enjoyed the gold pils and the lager beer as well. So yeah, definitely worth coming and visiting Brauerei Fässla here in Bamberg. I had a really nice time here. Big shout out to Nick, who gave me some really good service. So yeah, Brauerei Fässla, one of the famous Bamberg breweries. There you can see Brauerei Fässla. So catch you guys on the next one. I hope you enjoyed this little first beer blog that we've done here, and there will be many more to come. We are going to go across the road now to Brauerei Spezial, so let's do this.